There's a story in the Bible of Jesus went to this island, and at this island he found a man filled with demons. His name was Legion, the Legion of Demons. And so he found him, and to cut the story short, Jesus saved him. But the way Jesus saved him was important, of that Jesus saved this man by putting the demons in pigs. This island, the way that the islanders had survived was by feeding pigs, by taking care of the pigs. And so what Jesus did is he sent all of the demons and he sent them into the pigs. And so by sending them into the pigs ran off the cliffside and into the water. And so after all of this, the man with the demons, he was healed. He was in his right mind. And all of the people taking care of the pigs, they got all the other townspeople together. They went to Jesus to try to figure out what happened. And the Bible says that they asked him to leave, that they didn't want him anymore, that they didn't want Jesus on their island anymore, that for some reason what Jesus did, that he changed their lifestyle too much, that they couldn't accept it. And so looking to us now of be careful how we view what Jesus does in our lives, because our lives can be so intertwined with something that if it's taken away, it feels like our whole life is off course in a way. That if we base our life around, like how the earth, take this for example, that how the earth rotates around the sun, if the earth loses the sun, then it kind of goes off course. And sometimes that's us in our life, of we feel like, social media or a hobby or work or a friend or a girlfriend or a wife or something or anything or anyone is like our sun in our life. And if God or if someone takes it away, it's kind of a life-altering thing, because now you don't know where your life is actually going to take you. You don't know what is going to happen with your life. And so looking to us at this story of what I feel like it's trying to say, don't feed sin. Of what Jesus is trying to say, of what he said countless times, of don't feed sin, of don't feed problems, don't feed the sinful things in your life. Of sin, it's just opposite of God, if that's what sin is. And sometimes maybe you don't realize it, but you do feed sin. You can either feed sin, or you can do something with sin, or you can do something with righteousness. But be careful what your actions do. Be careful how you go through life. Be careful what you put in your life, and be careful what rotates your life, of what truly drives your life. Sometimes maybe you don't even realize that you're actually feeding the sin in your life. And maybe you are, and you just don't want to change because you don't know what your life is going to be if you really do try to be better without that sin. Be careful where that sin takes you. Be careful of feeding the sin in your life. Of Romans 6:12 and 7, verse 12 and verse 17, I say points this clearly of it's talking about obeying the lust of the flesh, or obeying sin, or obeying God. Of whatever you choose, you are a servant of, and whatever you do, you are a servant of whatever. If you choose sin, you are a servant of sin, and you are choosing sin over God. But if you choose God, you're choosing God over sin. And it's basically saying actions can cause sin or not. And Matthew 15:3 says it, of Jesus was talking to the Pharisees, and he was asking them of why does your traditions transgress the commandment of God? Of what he's saying there in basically layman's terms, of why does your actions go against God? Why does your actions go towards sin and not me? So going back to us now, be careful what your actions do. Be careful what you do, because maybe you don't realize it or not, you can feed sin. Your actions, your words, how you interact with people, what you do with people, what you do with yourself. Your influence is anything that you do, any action that you do, it can feed sin. And so you need to decide of what are you going to do with your actions? What am I going to do with my actions? Am I going to feed sin or am I going to feed righteousness? Just some food for thought for you.